Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Schad. I write for the Viking Age as well as Bring Me the News, Zone Coverage, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, and we do this every Monday and Thursday right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. And if you miss us, we are on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, please rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. You can spread the word to everybody out there to check out the show. Everything okay out over there?
Yeah, they're fine.
I'm sure they're doing okay. One of them's got
good.
a knife, but
Yeah.
other than that, we're okay. Live YouTube, everybody. But we kind of got a lot to talk about today, Adam. We've already got a trade. We've had some quarterback drama that never was drama. And by the time people watch this whole episode is probably going to be obsolete. But you should watch to the end because, you know, there's probably some entertaining stuff for you. So that's not what I'm saying here at all. Make sure you check us out. But we're going to discuss our 53-man rosters for the 2023 season because as much as we want to break down that final Vikings and Cardinals preseason game, there wasn't a whole lot. I watched a half and then I moved on with my life because
Jaren Hall did look better, but it was against third and fourth stringers. So
how about we start there? Or sorry, go ahead.
Well, and I'm just gonna say, like, everyone's like, oh, he looked better. He should, because he was playing against guys that he probably played against in college.
Yeah, let's just start there. Let's go right into it. Let's just dive right into our 53-man roster projections because we're going to start at quarterbacks. And obviously, Kirk Cousins is going to make the team. That's not breaking news or anything. Maybe it was the handlebar mustache that kind of sealed his spot. You know,
that threw everyone off.
I gotta say something about that
because and we knew Vikings fans knew about that for a while because he had it in like his press conference, and then like he got on TV and spread like wildfire, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at Kirk," and I'm like, he's had this for like the whole week.
The quarterback Ken take that I have with Kirk Cousins, where he's just like a Ken doll, and
don't work anymore.
You can put chains on him. You can give him a handlebar mustache. Just don't ask to have him throw beyond the sticks on a 4th and 8 with the season on the line. But he is your quarterback. So hooray. Nick Mullins has officially seized the Sean Mannion Memorial role, which is more assistant coach than quarterback. Smart guy, really. He probably just looked around and be like, wait, all I have to do is like tell Kirk how to do things better. Yeah. Like this is really easy. This is awesome. Like this is way better than Kyle Shanahan. He told me to like go in this broom closet and never come out. Hey, Trey Lance, what are you doing here? That is a great segue, actually, because the last time we talked to you on the Viking Age podcast, which is Wednesday with Sam Ekstrom, there were some rumors about Trey Lance potentially getting traded. He did get traded. He went to the Dallas Cowboys. Weird deal, especially when they have Dak Prescott. And I hopped on ESPN today and like the whole site is like, Cowboys, how could they not talk to Dak Prescott about Trey Lance? Trey Lance is probably not good. Like I will admit that. I was sitting here on the show talking about, well, the Vikings should take a chance, whatever. That is more just for a security net for 2024. So you have somebody out there because right now, you know, if Kirk Cousins goes down, you're screwed. If Kirk Cousins leave after this year, you're screwed, even though I just railed on him in his handlebar mustache, trying to be Hollywood Hulk Hogan out here. But it seems like the Vikings chose Jaren Hall over Trey Lance because Kevin Seifert of ESPN.com said that the Vikings weren't even in on talks for Trey Lance. And Kevin O'Connell said about Jaren Hall after Saturday's performance, I would like to keep him around. So what do you think about the quarterback room? Because I don't know. I don't see it with Jaren Hall. I really don't, but I'm curious to see what you're thinking.
That's fair. He's a 5th-round rookie, so you shouldn't really – your expectations for him shouldn't be very high. I thought he was able to progress as in each preseason game, get better and better. But like I said, in the third one, he was playing against 3rd and 4th stringers, so he should be playing better. but the way he just like responded to pressure and everything, and he had a nice downfield throw, obviously, but he crossed the line of scrimmage, so it didn't count, but it was still an impressive play. As far as Trey Lance goes, they were trying to trade for him back in March or April, and trading for him back then would have made a lot more sense because he would have been able to get reps and OTAs and mini camp and training camp. You trade for him now, he doesn't get anything because he would be either the number 3 or the number 2 guy, and Kirk Cousins gets all the reps in practice. The number 2 guys or the 3 guys, they're trying to be the other team, like for the scout team for the defense. So they have to learn like the other team's offense and try and run those plays, which wouldn't really help Trey Lance in his development. Maybe some times after practice, Kevin O'Connell could have helped him and everything, but the time to trade for him was back in March and April, especially for someone like him who's more developmental. So then you have someone like Jaren Hall who's already been through that whole process through like the spring and everything. And then you've already invested this time in him. You invested a draft pick in him. Kevin O'Connell kind of, I believe the word that's been thrown around is handpicked Jaren Hall. So there's been a great deal of time invested in Jaren Hall, and I think Kevin O'Connell probably just didn't want to just throw him to the side and be like, all right, we're good. Because I think all the trade talks with Trey Lance, the reported ones, happened before the draft. So they happened before the Vikings were able to get Jaren Hall. So after they got Hall, I think they were much more comfortable with their developmental quarterback situation with Trey Lance. But for my final 53, I don't have Nick Mullins on there. I have Malik Willis.
You have a trade?
Yeah, I have the Vikings sending Nick Mullins to the Titans and a draft pick for Malik Willis because they got to watch him in practices, those joint practices, and then they got to watch him in the game too. They got a firsthand look at Malik Willis, who I think he looked a lot better this preseason than he did last year. It looked like he had, he's starting to piece some things together. It's still very raw. He's still got quite a bit of way to go before he can be probably at least a solid starter in the NFL. But I think if the Vikings are looking for upside from their backup quarterback situation, or even someone they can even just like plug in for a couple of plays a game just to throw people off, because Kevin O'Connell wants that whole illusion of complexity thing in there. But yeah, I got the Vikings making a trade with the Titans to get Malik Willis before the start of the season, and Jaren Hall's in there too. So I got 3 quarterbacks. I got Kirk Cousins, Malik Willis, and Jaren Hall. There you go.
I could see a trade. I don't know. I do not think. I mean, first of all, again, it's the whole. What are the Vikings wanting from their backup thing? It doesn't seem like they want to pressure Kirk Cousins at all, even though he could very well be gone next year because this is the last year of his deal. Like, it just seems like they never want to put pressure on him because Kirk will freak out. Like, oh my, like it's funny to me how many little things can just throw Kirk off. Like, oh my God, they're blitzing me in practice. I got to figure out how to beat this defense. No. We're not playing Brian Flores, Kirk. Like, stop. Like, I got to put my helmet on so I can go through all the mental reps during this preseason game and like whatever. And I think I've been pretty transparent about my feelings for Kirk on this show. Like, I feel like you do a hell of a lot worse, but you could do a hell of a lot better. I said it was Sam. He's like Madden 24. You throw it in, you play a game, and you're like, hey, this is fine. Then you go to the menus and be like, ooh, this is a problem. But like, I don't know. And like, again, Jaren Hall, you mentioned it a little bit. He's a 5th round pick. Not only that, he's a 25-year-old 5th round pick.
Yeah.
The best Jaren Hall can be is Sean Mannion. Maybe even a little better. Maybe he can actually play in a game.
I hope he can be better than that. That's a very low bar.
You don't think he can be better than Sean Mannion, you're saying? Or
No. I hope he can be better than Sean Mannion.
I feel like that's what's happening here. Like, they're just grooming him to be the clipboard holder for all eternity. Because I don't think he's good. I don't like he's college good. Like, he knows what he's. But I mean, he talks about like the playbook, like, oh, I had to learn all this stuff. Like, what the hell did you think you were expecting when you went in there? Like that was it. And they talk about maturity. I don't know. There's rumors about a burner account floating around. So I mean, maybe I bit on that one, and maybe it's not like, maybe it's a family member or something. But I mean, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. And I mean, when he was picked, you were like, well, maybe you can start him next year. If you're starting him next year, you're tanking. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like that is a full-blown tank job, because
you're the Cardinals if you're doing that.
Right. Like, I don't know. So I mean, yeah, it's Kirk Cousins, Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall. You could be in a lot worse positions, and maybe that's why you make a trade like you're suggesting.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did it in mind, with 2024 in mind, because we keep thinking like, oh, it's the Vikings. They're gonna have the choice to bring back Kirk Cousins or not. What if he's like, nah, I'm good. Like he has a good season. He's like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Who's gonna give me $50 million a year? Because if he has a good season, someone's gonna pay him,
right?
And he's gonna get a lot of money. So we got to think about that too. The Vikings have to, cover all bases. Like, you got to make sure you're ready in case he says goodbye, see you later. Because you're not going to franchise him, because that would be what? That'd be like over 60, I think. So that's not even.
That'd be ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why that was part of the thing in mind I had with Malik Willis. There's also the connection with the new Titans GM between the Vikings, between Quasido Fomensa and their new GM over there in Tennessee, because they work together in San Francisco. And then the fact they just drafted Will Levis. So I would say that regime now is more invested in him than they are Malik Willis. So if he doesn't go to the Vikings, I would be surprised if he doesn't end up somewhere else, because I just think the Titans are not really invested in him. And I think this whole preseason was like kind of like a showcase for other teams to see and try and see if they want him.
Let's talk about the running backs next, because I think that's a very interesting conversation. You better pray Alexander Madison is good, because if he's not, holy shit, are you screwed? Madison will be the starter. He's a lock for the roster. Ty Chandler, I think, is a lock for the roster. Number 3, I don't think it's going to be Dwayne McBride. Again, he looked good, but like you're saying, he looked good against 3rd or 4th stringers. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's there yet. I don't know if he'll ever get there. We can't all be Isaiah Pacheco. Oh, Isaiah, oh, there you go. Oh, so
I got another trade.
Is it Jonathan Taylor?
No.
They're just gonna trade for everybody. They're gonna.
No. This one, I only got 2. I only got 2 trades, and it just happened to be the first 2.
What's this trade?
So obviously I have Alexander Madison, number 1. Number 2, I've got Michael Carter. From the New York Jets. He's in his 3rd year with the Jets. Just kind of he is a number 2 guy. He's a 3rd down running back and can catch out of the backfield, can run on the backfield, just make, change of pace kind of back that you might be maybe what the Vikings kind of want out of Ty Chandler right now, but maybe he's not really up to that level yet. And the Jets have Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. Like, is Michael Carter really going to play that much? I mean, I guess those two guys have a good history of getting injured, so maybe they want to keep him. But I just got the Vikings. I think they're gonna either sign someone or add someone who has or trade for someone who has actual experience, because like you said, if Alexander Madison goes down, it is not looking good.
And Alexander Madison's not guaranteed to be good. Let's remember that.
That too. And do you think Kene Nwangwu starts on the pup? You think he has to, right? He hasn't played at all.
Well, he's going on the pup, or he's getting cut.
Yeah, if he wants. I was gonna say, if he wants to stay on the team, he should be like, yeah, I'll go on the pup, because that would mean he's out for the first 6 weeks.
And I think too, what they have to do is they have to bring him through to the 53 man and then put him on the pup, because if they put him on the IR, then he's out for the year. I could be wrong on that though too. So, because he had to start camp on the pup and then you stay on the pup, but I think you can go on the pup later.
So maybe one of the guys that they cut today, they're hoping that doesn't get claimed, and they can add him after they put Nwangwu on the pup.
Yeah. That could, I mean, that's an interesting decision. I guess I'm not going to shed tears if they lose Kene Nwangwu. I am still going to watch the Vikings on Sunday, if they keep him around. I think it'll either be a trade or a free agent back.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be Kareem Hunt because I think
too much.
Like it's almost overkill. So the price isn't as bad for me as much as it is like the message. Like Alexander Madison, yeah, we signed a former rushing champion, but you're still a sir, you're still our guy. Like the whole, we've talked about this. The whole
you can't pay him more.
Been like disrespect tour for Alexander Madison.
Yeah,
where it's like, I mean, it's very hard to pay Alexander or anybody more than Alexander Madison because he's only making like what, 3 million?
Yeah.
Or something. Like it's
a little more than 2.
Not a lot. One other thing I wanted to note before we move on. The Dolphins balked all offseason about Dalvin Cook, and now they basically have him because Devin Akane has a shoulder injury.
Oh, the Dolphins. Yeah.
The Dolphins, yeah.
Oh, he's got a shoulder.
Funny. We got, but he's cheaper and more efficient than Dalvin Cook.
It's literally that meme. Mom, I want Dalvin Cook. Oh, we've got Dalvin Cook.
Got Dalvin Cook at home. And now they're trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor. Like how the turntables have turned. CJ Ham, he'll be a lock at fullback as the token Minnesota player on the roster. I don't think we need it. I just think he's going to be used more, and because they're going to be more physical and try and bust up that cover too, because Kirk doesn't want to throw into it. Wide receivers, Dustin Jefferson, breaking news. He's going to make the team.
Barely made it.
It's pretty bold. KJ Osborne, Jordan Addison. The last 2 spots, a bit of a question mark. I do think they keep Jalen Nailor because they like him. I mean, I know he's missed most practice, but he's returned now. So I think he's got a spot locked down. And then to me, it comes down to Brandon Powell and Jalen Reagor. And I have Powell because he's a better punt returner, receiver, and can return kicks, which is like 3 things that Jalen Reagor does not do well. Actually, the only thing that Jalen Reagor does well is run in a straight line and post a good 40 time. Even that might be a question. Also, you have to consider if Kene Nwangwu is gone, Powell's an even better choice here. So maybe they pick 6 receivers, but I just don't think I know you're guaranteeing his contract, but Jalen Reagor just doesn't do anything here, which is why I'm kind of like,
and I think the whole reason they signed Brandon Powell earlier this year was to compete with Jalen Reagor because they weren't happy with what they probably got out of him last year, and they've liked what they've seen out of Brandon Powell. And all the reports out of camp from O'Connell and everyone else is that everyone's thrilled with Brandon Powell. So it'd be a big surprise if he didn't make it. So I think they have at least 5 receivers. I got all the same guys that you have. And if they have 6, then it would probably be Reagor. But I don't know if they have 6 because they have to make room for some other spots because there's a bunch of positions where they're like, I don't know who they're going to pick because they either like a lot of guys or they just don't have a lot to pick from. So, I got the same 5 wide receivers as you.
I also think that wide receiver is probably like the deepest part of the team right now because, I mean, they have Christian Jackson. They have Lucky Jackson. It's Lucky Jackson, right?
Yep.
Everybody is named Jackson. Jackson. They are Thomas, Ricky Prohl, if they want to keep them. Although
Ricky Prohl.
His son. Immaculate Grid time, baby.
The singer.
Rams and Broncos, I think.
But don't have Thayer Thomas, return any punts because he clearly can't do that. I don't know if you saw in the preseason game where he muffed another one.
I think I was off to do bigger and better things.
My
afternoon at that point.
But Blake Prohl is the younger kid
with the voice of God. Okay, so I also want to get into this is very quickly. I did not know. I don't even know his name. I didn't even know the actor that narrates Hard Knocks. Aaron Rodgers like, I want to meet that guy.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know who that is. And somebody's like, he's in all sorts of movies. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like, I don't.
Oh, what's his name?
I've never heard of him. Lee Schreiber or something.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of him. So there is that. I was talking to somebody there. Somebody made a Top Gun reference, and I'm like, I've never seen Top Gun either. And they're like, how the hell have you never seen that? I don't know. I watch sports and I watch wrestling. Like,
oh, he's
I don't know.
He's in the Wolverine movie. Duh.
I've never seen that. Logan or like
no,
he's
one of the villains.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I heard Logan's
he's
a good one, but
he was known for there's a show called Ray Donovan.
He's the guy who plays the main guy there, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
that's what he's known a lot for recently. But he's been in a lot of stuff. I'm looking at his IMDb right now. He's been in a lot. We don't need to go over it all.
Let's go to tight ends.
Yeah.
TJ Hawkinson needs a miracle cure. Things just keep happening to the guy. First it's an ear infection, and it's a bad back. Then it's like some bad contract negotiations.
Is he a hypochondriac?
They all hurt. Maybe it's a bruised ego he's sitting out with now. I don't know. You're not going to pay me that much? And I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are ragging on him a little bit, but I mean, at the same time, it's just like, what are we doing here, Kwesi? Like, sign a guy to an extension. Like, he's clearly an important part to what you do on offense. You've said it before. Like, just do it. And I mean, if he's asking for $100 million, tell him to bleep off. Like, but I don't think that's what's happening here. So,
well, did you see what came out today? The ESPN top 100 players or whatever. They're trying to predict like who's going to be the 100 best players next season. No sign of TJ Hawkinson in there. He was listed as a snub or whatever, but
where was Kirk?
94.
90. Oh, so he cracked it.
He made it.
Sure,
yeah, I was getting down to the end. I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna have a snub article. Yes, here we go. And he's like 94.
Like, you're hearing the clicks as you scroll down the list. Like, he's 79, 78. It might be click.
No. Justin Jefferson was number 2. Danielle Hunter was in there too. I don't remember what he was ranked. But yeah, Danielle Hunter, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Jefferson. But then there's a report I think from Albert Breer today that speaking of extensions, that they're trying to sign Justin Jefferson to an extension before the start of the season. So they're trying to do the same thing for Hawkinson. But yeah, it's weird. It's like Kwesi was given the Wilfs bank account and he's kind of just being stingy with it, where he's like, no, I don't want to spend any money. I just want to invest it and like get interest. Because like he's not
by the dip,
not spending it. So I don't know if he wanted to like wait for other people to get contracts and then do it, but it's getting close, man. Like if you want to sign Hawkinson, then do it. But I'm getting the feeling that more and more they don't. I think they want to get Justin Jefferson done first. And then I think I might have been Judd or Phil Mackey that threw it out the other day. Like, what if they give Kirk Cousins an extension before the season? Like, what if they're doing that? Like, they've gone through other options and they're like, he's going to be our best option next year, so let's figure it out now so it's not too expensive.
I do wonder, like at this point, I mean, it's almost like a security net, right? Like you can just buy yourself another year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they may also think that Kirk could fall off the cliff because last year might be unsustainable. As a matter of fact, if you asked most analysts, it probably was. But I don't know. You give up that much draft capital for TJ Hawkinson. It's like, again.
Yeah. So who do you have for
what are we doing here? Hawkinson, Josh Oliver, and the best number 3 tight end in the NFL, Johnny goddamn Munt. Nick Muse, I have him out unless like Hawkinson, gets bilateral leg weakness or like scurvy or something before start of the season. But
I've got all 3 of those guys and Nick Muse. I've been impressed with what he was able to do in his preseason snaps. He had a couple good catches and breaking some tackles. So I got him on there. I got 4 tight ends.
Offensive line. Let's have some fun here, huh? We got Christian Darrisaw. We got Ezra Cleveland. We got Garrett Bradbury, Ed Ingram, and Brian O'Neill. If they all start in week 1, it will be the first time the Vikings have had the same offensive line in back-to-back week 1s since 2012. That only sounds good in name because we know how this interior has performed, and they get to play Vita Vea in week 1. Eater of Worlds. Yay. Blake Brandel, Austin Schlotman. It doesn't matter what your name is. Oli Udo. And then I also have, this is a bit of a cop-out because I don't know who they're going to trade for. Nothing makes sense right now. I think they make a free agent signing or a trade. I don't know if it's Dalton Reisner. I don't know.
Walking through those doors.
He's hiding in the bushes with Twitter's best Vikings reporter, or excuse me, Vikings best Vikings. I totally.
It's all right. You don't need to do that.
I don't need to do that. I don't need to go off the top of the rope. The shooting star press start botching things like all in. I don't know, man. I feel they got to do something about this offensive line because they can't just go in and be like, wow, Ezra Cleveland and Ed Ingram are really bad. We didn't see this coming. It's like the Twins pitching staff, for fuck's sake. Like, do something. And everything that we've heard, it's not any better. So maybe week 1 starts and everything's magically held together, but I see Vita Vea throwing Ed Ingram, Garrett Bradbury, and it's like Braun Strowman, the old squash matches where he'd throw a cruiserweight around the ring for like 2 minutes and be like, that was awesome. Except, he'll be throwing Kirk Cousins because he threw all the offensive linemen into the crowd. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think we both probably have the same starting 5.
Yeah.
And then after, I just looked at my 53-man because I came out with one. I published one on Sunday. And 2 of the guys are already gone. I had Vidarian Lowe on there, but he got traded. And then I had Josh Sokol on there, but he was waived today. So I've got Blake Brandel, Austin Schlotman, and Ali Udo. And let's pick from the hat here.
Maybe that's what they'll do. They just got a whole bunch of the hat. Go ahead.
I guess we don't have many left. Let's see. Jack Snyder and Alan Ali. I believe I'm going to guess that Chris Reed is going to remain on the
NFI list. Yeah.
Because he just reduced. I think he just reworked his contract. Came out today that he reworked it so he could get. He took a lower base salary, but his guarantee is higher. So I'm assuming that's what's going on. He's either going to start on the NFI or he'll be back. So a lot of question marks. If someone gets hurt, there's no ifs and buts about it. They are fucked.
This is where the whole Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Cook thing makes me laugh. I saw Zadarius Smith just murder a guy in a preseason game. We all know how Zadarius Smith will probably play.
It's going to be great
games,
for his
and then then he'll be limping around and being like, "Where's my money?" That's basically how Zadarius Smith rolls. Dalvin Cook. The whole thing is they just sat there with them for all this time, and they didn't sign anybody on the offensive line. They didn't bring anybody in. So if it sucks, that is a big old black mark on Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah for sitting around trying to get ultimate value for guys nobody was going to trade for. So
I was surprised they traded low though.
I was too. They get a 6th round draft pick in return from the Patriots. Vikings didn't have a lot of draft capital before this, and now they have 5 picks on day 3.
They had 7 picks, and now they have 8.
Now they have 8.
I want to say
a lot of them in the later half, though.
Yeah, they have 6 on day 3. They have 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th.
Rick Spielman's
what? I thought Vidarian Lowe played better than Ali Udo, and he was worth moving on from to get a 6th round pick. I don't know.
That is That's like the theme of this team. It's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with it because I feel like they don't have any depth.
No.
Interior defensive line. Harrison Phillips, Dean
Yep.
Lowry, Kyrus Tonga,
Yep.
Jaquelin Roy,
Yep.
Jonathan Bullard.
Yep.
Says the atonement Woods, Ross Blacklock, and Sheldon Day are all out. This is a position that I don't think has the importance unless like you're just like a physical freak like a Vita Vea or like a Jordan Davis or Aaron Donald or something. Like they're just kind of there and they're almost like a no-name group. Like remember, Kyrus Tonga was a waiver pickup from the Bears when they released him last year, and he turned out to be all right. So I mean,
he was on their practice squad, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a patchwork group until they can either sign a guy or develop someone. And remember, there's going to be multiple fronts with this defense. So basically, everybody in this group is a defensive tackle, and they're going to kick to the inside when you want to call him Sheldon Richardson, Marcus Davenport, and Daniil Hunter kick into the outside for a 4-3 look.
Yeah, I'm curious about Dean Lowry because we didn't see any of him in the preseason because he's a starter, so they're not going to play him. But I guess if you were at camp, you would know what he's been doing. But he was solid for the Packers, so I'm just curious to see what he adds, how he makes it different. Maybe if he's able to help patch up their run defense, which has been pretty bad the last few years. Even though they had what's his name, the best defensive tackle in the world in there, Shamar Stephen.
Yes, the big fundamental.
So I'm curious about him, and then Jaquelin Roy has been getting some positive reviews in camp. He looked pretty good in the final preseason game, so I'm interested in him too. But yeah, this group, I think it's gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be like an unsung kind of hero. I feel like if they do anything well, where a lot of the credit's gonna go to maybe Brian Flores' new scheme, but some of the guys in here probably will deserve more credit than they get because there's not a lot of notable names. Harrison Phillips, like people know who he is, but he's not like a Pro Bowler or anything like that. But it's an interesting group, but it's important too. It's an important group because the Vikings need them to do well. So yeah, lots of fun.
My favorite Shamar Stephen moment was when Andre Patterson was in an interview and like they had just re-signed him and he was like, why would you do that? He's like, where's the camera? He literally said, where's the camera? So he could point into it and be like, Shamar Stephen is the real deal. And like, I'm like, huh?
My favorite is always when they're like, you guys don't see what he does on tape. You don't see it. You don't see it. Yeah, we don't see it because he doesn't do anything. But yeah, I had the same 5 as you, so I forgot to mention that.
Edge rushers. Let's talk about edge rushers. Daniil Hunter, Marcus Davenport, Patrick Jones, DJ Wanham. Then it's like a 3-way battle between Andre Carter II, Luigi Villain, and Benton Whitley. Alec Lewis had Andre Carter on the roster.
Me too.
And I would say the only reason you would keep them is because you gave them a lot of money.
Yep.
It was like, I think the biggest bonus for UDFA in NFL history. Maybe it was behind Lyle Collins, who was accused of murder. That'll get you to fall down the draft boards pretty quickly. I think they hang on to him because I think some team's going to poach him on if he's on the practice squad and whatever. And like, we kind of went into the year knowing, hey, he's probably going to need a year. Luigi Villain and Benton Whitley, I think they're practice squad guys. I mean, Villain had that really nice game in Seattle. Whitley had the nice game against Tennessee. I think they're just guys, they're depth guys that you can look at. And I don't know. I think Patrick Jones and DJ Wanham are kind of entrenched as those backups right now. So
yeah. And Villain made the team last year too as a undrafted rookie. So he's already been there. I made a note in my predictions that I feel like either Patrick Jones or DJ Wanham could be someone that the Vikings maybe look to trade before the start of the season because there aren't a whole lot of differences between those two. And then they have a lot of, like we mentioned, they have a lot of young pass rushers that they probably want to give more opportunities to than someone like Jones or Wanham who've been there and haven't really done a whole lot. I don't know what you could get for them in trade. Probably, yeah, a 6th or 7th, a conditional 7th.
Just hoard them, baby.
But yeah. I mean, just get 9 7th-round picks, and maybe that'll be enough to get Caleb Williams.
Arizona, I don't have much, but I got like 6 day 3 picks that I can give you. I just want to call Mike Ditka and get Caleb Williams. Just all my draft picks.
I've got $3. I can give you.
Can I get this steak, this Wagyu beef?
Like, I agree with all 5 that I got Carter on there too. I'm curious about Marcus Davenport too. Like, he's another new addition that we haven't really seen a lot of, because he didn't appear in any preseason games, which I don't mind. Like, I saw couple teams had, like, the Jets had their starters in the 3rd preseason game, and I'm like, do you guys know your history? Like, it's not good. Why are you playing Aaron Rodgers in the? I know you probably didn't have a choice with Aaron Rodgers because he was like, I'm gonna play whether you like it or not. Aaron Rodgers, is he the CM Punk of the NFL? Oh, that's for another podcast. He just rubs a lot of people wrong. That's why I said that. But yeah, like, their history is like someone's gonna get hurt. But yeah, I'm happy with the Viking strategy, and yeah, I have all those edge rushers. I just went on just like 7 different tangents. So there we go.
That's good. I mean, that's not quite like my 10 during an episode, but yeah. I mean, let's talk about linebacker. Jordan Hicks is going to make the team. Brian Asamoah, I mean, he's got a new name. Could change next time. Maybe he's just like trolling us and be like, it's Asamoah. They're actually calling me it. Look at those guys. Troy Dye and Ivan Pace Jr., who might be starting.
Yeah.
That I didn't see that coming. I mean, linebacker's pretty set up, but I mean, how they're actually deployed, that's going to be interesting to watch, because Ivan Pace has been wearing the green dot. He's been taking first team reps. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to start. Like, every indication has been he's going to start. Like, he's been on the field with the first team defense. Even when Asamoah came back, he was on the field with the first teamers. Jordan Hicks is going to be in there. I think that's a given. But you got to have a guy named Ivan on the Vikings, right? Like, you can't just cut him. His name's Ivan. He is a Viking.
It's like Oli. You can't cut Oli either.
Ivan. Come on.
Ivan the Viking.
Yeah, come on.
Come onto the field with the battle axe.
But yeah, like you said, like, just because it's listed that he's a starter or whatever doesn't mean that he's going to get, the most reps. I think they're going to be spread out pretty evenly, because we just don't really know what to expect from Brian Flores' defense. Flores did show a little bit more in the 3rd preseason game. Blitz a little bit more than he did in the first 2. But we still really don't know what he's got in store for Baker Mayfield in week 1. That should be real fun. So
Baker, the old baby maker.
Yeah.
Insurance salesman extraordinaire. I don't think he's still doing the insurance thing, is he?
No, I think he's getting defrauded by his dad. So
that sounds like fun.
He might need insurance for that.
Might be a little distracted come week 1, but you never know. Those parents, let me tell you. Corners, Mike Zimmer's favorite position. Byron Murphy Jr., Caleb Evans, Mekhi Blackman, Juwan Williams, Andrew Booth Jr., and Najee Thompson. With the exception of Najee Thompson, you know what the common theme is. They all get hurt. Byron Murphy missed half the season with an injury last year, has had an awesome camp, though, from what I've heard. Caleb Evans had 3 concussions last year. That's not good. Mekhi Blackman has a shoulder injury. We're not sure how he's doing right now. Juwan Williams missed all of last season with an injury, and Andrew Booth Jr. has been injured since high school. Let's go.
Trainers are excited.
They're ready.
Yeah. I don't have Juwan Williams on here. I only have 5. I think I did have him on there, but then I forgot about Najee Thompson, and I was like, yeah, he needs to be on there because he was awesome on special teams this summer. I reluctantly put Andrew Booth on there. I think they try and trade him before the season, and if they can't, then whatever, he makes the team. But the dude's been playing with the second and third team defense all summer. Second round pick last year. Like he's not doing well. Even when he is healthy enough to be on the field, he's not. He hasn't been that great. A lot of missed tackles. Like whenever I look for pictures for some articles now, like I'll put in Andrew Booth, and a lot of them will be him like stretching out, missing a tackle and on his, like falling on his face. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's great picture of him.
It's ideal.
But yeah, but I could see Juwan Williams on there too. I think I just left one off because I had to figure out safeties because I think the safeties is probably one of the toughest ones to pick as far as position groups for their final 53. So, but someone just mentioned in the chat to keep Williams because he knows the system, and I agree with that. So thank you, Digits 098043, and I don't think you're a bot. I've been seeing your comments. Don't worry.
He got very upset when I suggested that. I just saw all the numbers and I was like, I don't know, man. Here's another one too. Now that I kind of look at this, says negativity going on here. Truth, but negativity.
Truth hurts.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I don't feel great about this team. We'll get to that in a bit, but I mean, I'm not feeling good, and just because there's a lot of question marks. I mean, the safeties, they might be one of the strongest parts of this defense with Harrison Smith, Cameron Bynum, Josh Metellus. They're not going to give up on Lewis Seen. Not right now. I think he's got another year before they kind of have that conversation. And I think Jay Ward's going to stay as kind of a Swiss Army knife. Theo Jackson is interesting too, because Kevin O'Connell said he had a really good preseason.
I like him a lot.
So there is that. I don't know. I mean, they could keep 6 safeties because I think Brian Flores is just going to mad scientist his way to like use them all.
Yeah, a lot of big nickel, big dime. Theo Jackson is the questionable one because you have to find room for. They're not going to cut Jay Ward. They're not going to cut Lewis Seen. So Theo Jackson is just the question mark for me because they like him a lot, but is he really worth keeping on the roster over somebody else? That's what they have to figure out. That's the part of the fun of this 53. You got to have 53 players, no more, no less. So that'll be interesting to see because I don't think I picked Theo. Nope, I did not. I only have 5. So yeah, well, that'll be one of the interesting ones to see because we know the top 3 with Harrison Smith, Metellus, and Cam Bynum. Cam Bynum, I'm interested to see because it's his second year as a starter in this defense. It's probably a better fit for him. It's a better fit for anybody in that defense because they actually get to do stuff instead of just like standing there doing nothing. So I'm curious to see. I'm intrigued by this group, especially with this new scheme. I think that it'll be well for especially Harrison Smith. I think he's super excited to be with Brian Flores. So it'll be good.
Finally, just kind of loading it up. Specialists Greg Joseph, Ryan Wright, and Andrew DePaula. No surprises here. Not much of a competition.
Did you see Greg Joseph Smith's kick on Saturday?
I did not. How bad was it?
It was pretty bad.
It was pretty. Was it wide left?
Listen,
he pylon?
It was wide right, actually. Okay. He missed. No, he made 10 of 11 kicks in the preseason. So before that kick, he was perfect. So he had that going for him.
It's like that scene in Super Troopers where they have like the steel nut cup and like he's like, "Oh, how are you doing?" He's got the target thing and like everything's like in the middle, and then there's like one way over there. And be like, "What about that guy? Oh, that guy? Yeah, don't worry about that guy."
Pretty much, yeah. Well, a lot of the kicks that he made in the preseason, where I think they were like between 30 and 40 yards away, and then he had like I think it was a 54-yarder on Saturday. Just didn't have a chance from the start, it was wide right. Do you remember that kick that I want to say Blair Walsh had, where like he kicked it off the screen, during like his final year with
I
the
remember a
Vikings?
certain Blair Walsh kick
Yeah.
that
We don't need to
that
talk
was
about
wide
that.
left to the
Did you hear about?
pylon.
Did you hear some new stuff came out about that actually recently? I think it was on the offensive line podcast that Mackey does.
Yeah.
Searles talked about how Everson Griffin was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Which everyone was in that locker room, I imagine, because everyone was like, "It's not everyone's fault," or "It's everyone's fault, not Blair's," and everyone's like, "Bullshit." But yeah, the miss was pretty bad, but whatever. It's Greg Joseph. They know what they're getting themselves into. He can make some clutch kicks. He's also gonna miss some extra points. So maybe they're more continuity with the holder and the long snapper will be better, but I don't feel good about Greg Joseph, and I think I have every reason not to.
This roster, it feels a lot like playing with fire, doesn't it? Like
Oh yeah,
all sorts of. I mean, they don't have a lot of depth. They have a lot of questions. I mean, we talked about the cornerback room, a lot of injury plagued players, and I don't know, man. I mean, we could always be surprised. The Vikings could come out and have all the comebacks they want and all of this stuff again. But 9-10 wins, I mean, that might get you to win the North. But
yeah,
again, like
I think 11's the ceiling.
nothing really matters until I know what they're doing with the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think 11 is.
I mean, if you
ceiling.
win 10 games, there's a lot of questions there.
Yeah, I think between 7 and 11 wins probably for this team this year. 7, which is annoying because then they're going to pick 14th and be too far away to trade
down for second and thirds and
yeah.
The numbers. Oh, the numbers.
But I will say I feel confident about them beating the Bucks in week 1, so they'll probably lose. But I do feel confident about the Bucks. Who Todd Bowles, he should probably just quit now because he's not going to be the head coach next year. So
Todd Bowles has substitute teacher energy.
Oh yeah. So does Baker Mayfield.
You kids want to like fight in the corner? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's like he's like the old substitute who's like, we're supposed to do this, but I don't really care.
What do you guys want to do?
Yeah. And Baker Mayfield's like the cool substitute. He's like, yeah, let's watch YouTube all day. Yeah.
We're gonna throw on I had a friend actually who before he moved up to a higher position in learning, he was a teacher. And I think one of the first things he did was like substitute. And he's like, you guys don't know how hard Aladdin balls until you're a substitute teacher. Just like, I'm gonna throw on Aladdin and just I thought it was funny
that the Bucks had to announce that Baker Mayfield beat out Kyle Trask for the starting job.
I didn't even know there was a competition.
Right, like that's how bad it's gotten for Mayfield, who was the former number 1 pick, the Cleveland Browns. He had to beat out Kyle Trask to be the Bucks' number 1 guy. Did you see what the Cardinals coach said today about because they are just full on tank mode. They cut Colt McCoy today, and they're going with either Josh Dobbs, who they acquired, I believe, a week ago, or they're who's their
Clayton
backup?
Tune.
Yeah, or him as their starting quarterback, and their coach Jonathan Gannon, who we already know is out there. He's like, I'm not going to announce a starter for a competitive advantage. Everyone's like, okay.
We're going to play both of them.
I believe it was Jordan Reed, formerly of the Viking Age, but now with ESPN, tweeted, competitive advantage for Caleb Williams. Because they are tanking. Like you can tell how poorly an organization is run by how obvious they make it that they're tanking. Like the Dolphins did it when Flores was there, and the Cardinals are clearly doing that now. It's
too. I mean, Kyler's probably gonna sit there like midway through. Like, hey guys, I'm ready to go. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Well, but no, really, like play Call of Duty. Like, get out of here. Like, go play some Xbox or something.
Possible 2024 Vikings quarterback, Kyler Murray. He is a Vikings fan. Him and Justin Jefferson did shake hands on Saturday, so they're good buddies. No,
they shook hands. It's like one of those wrestling storylines, like down the road.
They've definitely played video games before together. They definitely have.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's no doubt about that.
And I think for a receiver, it's not as like important to watch film as like quarterback. So might have a little more time to kind of just hit the sticks.
Digits didn't like that Kyler Murray suggestion. He didn't like that.
Not at all. Not at all. What's going on at the Viking age right now, Adam?
We're just trying to keep track of all the cuts, keep track of all the random reports from people that you've never heard of, but they're supposedly true. Of the cuts, we have a cuts tracker. So keep your bookmark that, refresh it all day long. No, we'll just be updating that, and then we're gonna have a bunch of reactions. We're gonna have some surprise cuts, players probably shouldn't have cut, some of the cuts from other teams that the Vikings should consider, either claiming on the waiver wire or signing, and then maybe some trades that they can make before the season. And then we're getting close. We're gonna be a week, almost less than 2 weeks away from real Vikings football.
Real unfiltered Vikings football.
We get to watch Dan Campbell first. Dan Campbell and the Lions against the Chiefs Thursday night.
I'm sorry, that's going to be a gong show.
It's in Kansas City, right? I think so.
Yeah, it's in Kansas City because they won the Super Bowl. So, everybody loves the Lions. Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
They're gonna have something like crazy in the works that they're gonna try in like the first quarter, like.
And Dan Campbell won't know anything about
like an offensive line screen or something. Like they're gonna he's gonna do something.
Penei Sewell is lining up at quarterback. What is happening?
Yeah, right. Do the Jalen Hurts goal line situation, but have Penei Sewell hike the ball. That actually wouldn't be.
That's refrigerator Perry style. I like it.
But yeah,
Vikings might have to resort to that if this running game doesn't pan out.
What? I guess one last thing before you out here is like, what position do you think the Vikings need to? What one position? You can only pick one. What one position do they need to fix or improve? I guess try and improve before the start of the season.
Offensive line.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close. Like maybe find a corner, but like you can survive.
Are you talking starter or depth?
I'm talking depth.
Okay.
Like depth is the biggest problem with this team. I think they're, it's similar to last year where like you have a whole bunch of top tier guys and the bottom tier just kind of sucks. But like they're like the 2020 Vikings right now, where I know that's going to make a lot of teams. Yeah, I hope not. Kirk's trying to impale linebackers from the pocket, but I mean, 2020 was the same thing where you had your clear guys, like a lot of young guys that you were hoping stepped up, and it didn't happen until like midway through the season, and they just decided to run Dalvin Cook all the time. Like, I don't know, you can't really do that with Alexander Madison, or I don't know. Like, they have to pray that the important people don't get hurt. That,
I was gonna say. So what you're saying is sign Justin Jefferson to an extension now. So if he gets hurt, then you're still okay. Actually, he would want to sign the contract extension, so in case he gets hurt, he's got the money.
Yes.
But either way, sign him.
All these injuries for TJ too. He might want to sign the contract, whatever it's in front of him. Body might be breaking down.
Why do they want to make him? Why do they want to? What is it? Reset the market. That's the word that was used.
It's the Carlos Correa situation.
He's been hurt all camp. Ear issues, back issues. Just not very dependable.
Well, my ear, my back. I want a new contract.
Before we get out of here, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
We weren't able to. I wasn't here on Thursday or Wednesday or whatever. Well, it didn't happen. I don't think it happened.
No.
It happened on Thursday.
It would have happened right as we were going on the air, which probably, if we were doing a live episode, we recorded with Sam previously, but yeah, it sucks.
Too young.
If you're not a wrestling fan, basically what wound up happening is one of the pretty big names.
He's popular.
Very popular name, Bray Wyatt. Wyndham Rotunda is his real name.
Yep.
Contracted COVID back in March, had a heart attack on Thursday because it basically mixed with a heart issue. So very somber time for wrestling fans because you watch the highlights and you realize he's not coming back. And the end of SmackDown where they had the lights go out like they would before he would come out as the Fiend, and the photo where he had, I mean, it was his logo with the upside down moth, and he was standing in the right position where it looked like he had wings and just the lantern. It's sad. It's really unfortunate. It's sad. It's one of the more creative wrestlers that we've seen in a long time, and person a lot of people liked behind the scenes. So
you didn't really hear a lot of bad things about him. Well liked. This sucks. I'm 36. He died at 36. And he has 4 kids, so it sucks. But yeah, it's just not fun. But I did enjoy the I saw at All In, the whole stadium in there lit up like fireflies. So that was pretty cool to see. And I feel like that's going to continue for a long, long time.
Yes.
So that'll be the way he's remembered, which is awesome.
I want to say one more thing, one more wrestling related note.
Oh boy.
If you're going to have a hardcore match in honor of Terry Funk, use more than one table. What
about skewers?
Okay, maybe that's a little.
That was disgusting.
I don't understand why people. Yeah, but just 2x4 with some barbed wire. Like that's all I ask.
And fire.
Light it on fire. Yes. I know they probably can't do that on network television, but
it wasn't on a network. It was on pay-per-view.
It was on Fox. Or I'm talking about like this one on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they had, for those who also don't know, Terry Funk, Hall of Famer, one of the first wrestlers to adopt the hardcore extreme style with chairs and tables and flaming shit and
Mick
all
Foley's
that stuff.
idol is all you need to know about him.
Yes. Go Google Terry Funk if you want to learn more. But they had a hardcore match on SmackDown, and they used just one table, no chairs, no ladders.
Hey, we see you, Tristan. Okay, we see you.
What we got?
It's another commenter saying we're not acknowledging them. I see you. Don't worry. I see your comments. Hello.
I gave him one earlier.
Yeah, we went over your comment earlier.
Yeah.
You just weren't here.
Maybe he was.
All right.
I'll stop there. On that note, that's all the time we have for today on the Viking Age. We do this every Monday and Thursday right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. Talk about Vikings more than wrestling, but we are also on Apple and Spotify the very next day. However you consume us, rate, comment, like, and subscribe so we can spread the word and you never miss a new episode. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad, and we'll talk to you next time on the Viking Age podcast.